Psychedelics change lives.
What's up, guys? So today I want to talk about how acid saved my relationship. Growing up, I was raised Christian. Like, I went to church 2 times a week, and you know, that whole everything that comes with that. Even as a young kid, didn't feel like it was really resonating with me. I used to tell my parents that I just wanted to be able to make my own choice on what I believe in, and I felt being raised Christian didn't really give me that ability. It just was never gonna work. It was just, yeah, no. Because I was raised Christian, I had so much guilt and fear to not follow that same path. As I got older, about 17, things were really bad with my parents. There was no trust whatsoever. They were extremely controlling. I get it now. I think that, you know, they were just trying to do what they thought was best for me, and instead of getting the response of me complying, it just made me a whole lot crazier. I've been this like rebel without a cause for most of my life. I think it's always going to be something inside. I was out living on my own, and I decided that I was going to do a solo acid trip. And so this wasn't like a normal occurrence for me. Usually if I did it, I would do it with someone, but I just really felt like I needed my own healing for that day. I popped a tab right on my tongue of me that exact day. And yeah, I was living in England at the time, so I put the tab on my tongue, and I had actually a package that I needed to pick up from the post office, which was like a mile away. So I thought, perfect, I'll put the tab on my tongue and start walking, and by the time I get my package, probably be like in it. When you know you're about to go on this like psychedelic journey, your mind becomes a whole lot more aware of like everything around you, and you just start to like already tune into that space. And so that's exactly what was happening. And then literally I walked into the doors of the post office. This was like a 20-minute walk, so I didn't think it would like kick in right away. Literally as soon as I walked into the post office, boom, all of the acid kicks in at once. I was just like, just breathe, and I had to just like talk myself through it. And this is like a lot of like what psychedelics are, it's just breathing through whatever you're experiencing. And so I went up to the counter with my ID, and like being an American, usually people like want to spark up a conversation. They're like, oh, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like trying to talk to him, and his whole face is melting off of him, and I'm just like, just give me the package and let me get the out of here. So I got my package, and then I was on my way home. I just expected it to be like a normal trip and just kind of introspective, get to know myself. So I took my time on my way home. I actually took the long way. I climbed through this park, ended up in this like open field by myself where there was a bench, and I went and sat on the bench, and it was amazing. There was all these birds and these like massive groups that were like swaying all across the field, and it's just like really cool to see that like collective energy. Basically they were all like thinking and vibing and flowing together. Also like the fact that there were like trails behind them made it like a lot more interesting. And then this like I remember like this family walking up to me, and like this like dog and like tried to pee on my shoe, and like I just started like laughing. And sometimes like on psychedelics the laughter becomes like almost manic. Like I couldn't stop laughing. I just thought it was so funny. And then I was just like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of public and go home and just like put my music on and peak basically. So I went in, and I instantly put on Pink Floyd, and at the time I wouldn't say I was like a major Pink Floyd fan, but I knew that they were kind of like psychedelic, and I like to listen to like old school like rock, the people that I feel like were first taking acid like when it was big, because I feel like you have this like different kind of connection with the artist. And so I started hearing these like deep powerful messages. It was The Wall that I was listening to, and just how like, I don't know, you have to listen to it when you're tripping, you'll understand what I mean. All of the sudden, out of nowhere, I started just fully feeling everything that my mom felt as a child. I started to understand her perspective, how she just had this like little delicate little flower, which was me, that she felt like she wanted to protect from like this evil world. But in doing so, she created all of these other obstacles for herself that maybe were unnecessary. I don't know, I just was able to see and understand why she was so controlling and her point of view fully. And I actually like broke down in tears. Like tears were just streaming down my face as I felt like all of like the pain that she did all those nights where I was like living out on my own and just like doing my own thing, being crazy and everything. And I just like totally resonated with what she had went through, because I had my perspective of like all of my experiences, but I didn't really understand why she was the way she was, and I fully got it because of acid. And LSD kind of helps you to feel from not just your perspective but another person's perspective and fully put yourself in their shoes. I just had this like greater understanding, and before that trip I was always like so bitter. I felt like I never felt good enough. I always felt like I was a letdown, and even though my mom would always tell me that she was so proud of me and you know this and that, it just always felt like I was this bad kid because I was raised, you know, going to private school and religious, and I was just able to see things from a totally different perspective. And I just instantly messaged my mom and told her how much I loved her and that I'm sorry for all the pain that I caused her. You know, even though I don't take back anything that I did or any of the actions that I made because I feel that they were valid, I just wanted to apologize that I wasn't more understanding of her point of view, basically. Yeah, LSD fixed my relationship with my mom. And maybe when you were clicking this, you probably thought relationship, usually people think romantic partner relationship, and it's helped that a lot too. But that was the most drastic change that I had for me. Talking to my mom, you know, she's very, I would say, sort of conservative, you know, in a sense. And so she would always kind of like talk down on psychedelics and drug use. And I always like keep myself quiet and didn't tell her. And then one day I was just like, you know what? She needs to know. I told her if it weren't for acid, we wouldn't have a relationship. And now we're really close. And so I don't think that ever would have been the case because I completely like cut myself off from my family until I was able to kind of live through their shoes. She didn't love the fact that I claimed that acid was the reason for our relationship, but I think she did believe me, and I think she still thinks that
it's because Jesus brought us back together.
But yeah, it's not. It's because of acid. So yeah, acid saved my relationship. Maybe it could help yours. Just basically helps you see another perspective, and it's not always a pretty one. Sometimes you have to face yourself, and that's part of like an ego death. It's just seeing yourself for where you're really at and the things that you need to work on. It basically brings up all of your fears, everything like that, brings it right in front of your face and has you really face it. And so that's what happened with, and I couldn't be more thankful. I'm in no way condoning the use of any medicinal and non-medicinal drugs, but it worked